Hello, everybody. Welcome to Office Hours. We're here every Tuesday at 9 a.m. Pacific, noon Eastern, to answer your questions about Alexa development, certification, all the things. I have Ryan and a wild Scott here with me today. So welcome to the two of you.
Hello.
Hey.
Hello.
Scott, good to have you back.
I know, it's good to be back.
It's good to see Scott on screen for sure. Always enjoy having him here. Always has some good perspectives on all of the things. So a couple of things for you guys. I always like to talk about new toys, and I showed this with Ryan before we went live. But for those of you that are familiar with a show that I've been doing called Alexa and Friends, I'm doing something new in 2022 that is more podcasty than video-y. And I picked up one of these. At first I thought it was for catching ghosts. It turns out it's not for catching ghosts, but in fact is like a really hardcore audio recorder. And so this podcast is going to be hopefully sound really good and have an opportunity to interview people no matter where I am, rather than having to run this whole rig here. So,
but it could be used for catching ghosts.
It could be used for catching ghosts for sure.
I mean, if it's really good audio, I feel like do you know about the EMV or what is that? Electromagnetic voice
pulse?
Where they? No, it's where they record the ambient sound in the room to try to hear the voice of ghosts.
Yeah. See, I knew you'd have an opinion on this, Scott. I love it.
I do. Used to be a bartender. I know things. I have an endless ocean of useless information.
I think we all have that curse, unfortunately. One of the other things that I wanted to talk about actually relates to you and your team, Scott. And you didn't know this was coming, but I found out this morning. I had a conversation with a couple of your teammates that you guys are hiring.
Yeah. Say that.
And so I want to lay this out, but I'd also love for you to kind of pile onto this. So
sure.
For those of you guys that don't know, Scott works on our developer advocacy group team. We call it DAG. And their job revolves around things like our developer forums, the contact us forums that you guys fill out regularly. Those all go to Scott and his team. And so they are looking to hire more people here in the United States. Mm-hmm. They're looking for people that have a technical background, right? Have you written some JavaScript to, whatever? Mm-hmm. But they're also looking for people that have a business understanding of how things work and policy and process and all of that. And they are also so that's the bare bones. But then they are also looking for someone that can do all that and also is fluent in Japanese. Because obviously we support the Japanese locales, and they want to make sure that they have somebody that can handle those things as well. So I'm going to put these each on the screen individually, but there are job listings. You can go to Amazon.jobs right now. All you really need to do is go to Amazon.jobs and then type in the number that you see at the end into the search box, and that will get you to the job listing. This is the normal one, 188-2265, and this one is 2264, and this one is the one that has the Japanese requirements. So if you or someone has fluency in Japanese, I would recommend you apply. I think that this is a great opportunity, one, to get inside Amazon, especially if you have a lot of Alexa experience, and might be a good foot in the door to bigger and better things in the future. So something to consider. Anyway.
Also, if you have fluency in any other language than English, for instance, French or German or Romanian, is it Romanian? It's Romanian, right? Like I can't remember if that's just one of the languages that we need international speaking folks. But also we just, the JavaScript ability is a big plus. But to be honest, it's not entirely required. It just depends. But there is I'm actually glad you brought that up in such a positive way, because I was coming on today and I wanted to really thoroughly apologize to everybody because of the lack of speed that we've been able to respond to our cases, because there has just been such a sudden thinning of our team that we are behind. It's a lot.
I heard the word backlog used a couple of times.
Yeah, it's a little bit. We're working our brains out here, but it's just me in the Seattle team. So, and there's another person in the Seattle team too, but she's leaving at the end of the month. So it's about to be just me. So
got it.
Apply like right now. Guys,
Right.
go do that now.
You're already too late. If you haven't done it yet, you're too late. No, please consider it. And honestly, even if this role doesn't sound particularly appealing to you, although I think that there's a lot of very interesting things to be learned and done on the DAG team.
It's a great way to start.
Amazon.jobs has all of the things. So if there's something else in Alexa or even within the entire Amazon organization, whether that's AWS or otherwise, lots and lots of opportunities there. To Don, who is on YouTube and who has shared with me a Contact Us ticket. Don, I finally was successful in getting an escalation on your ticket this morning. And so I hope that you'll see something here pretty quickly. Scott, I'd love your opinion on this. There's no wrong answers, but I'd love to understand this because I don't have my own perspective on why Don is receiving the feedback that he is. But I'll give you the quick synopsis. He submitted a skill that uses Amazon Pay as a way to handle payments for physical goods and services. I don't know what his physical goods and services are. Definitely not ISPs or anything like that.
Okay.
So he's using Amazon Pay to do so, and he is failing certification. And the feedback he's getting is that he should not use Amazon Pay. He should instead use account linking. Except that, from what I understand, he doesn't have anything to link an account to. He just has his skill. And so it's very confusing feedback to him because what am I supposed to link my account to? Am I supposed to build an entire web infrastructure that has user accounts and then link to those and have people do payments someplace else? Because it feels like that was the whole point of Amazon Pay, was to be able to handle payments directly inside a skill without having to do all that. So I don't know if you have any thoughts or perspectives on that, but that's the current challenge that Don is facing.
So account linking might just be the worst possible thing that we have had to deal with. It is maybe hands down the trickiest thing that we've had go across all of the Alexa services that we've released. It's not that it's broken, it's just complex. So it tends to get a lot of it gets muddled. So my first instinct is to think that there's got to be an account that they link to in order to use Amazon Pay. Mm-hmm. So your Amazon account, your Google Pay, or whatever not Google Pay, but it would, there's got to be some kind of an account that they use with the website to link to and then register the payment with. So if I have an account that's or if I have a skill that's on my website that's for my health website and I own a gym, you would want to have that a person have their account set up with your website so that they can then take payment.
Right. The example I always use for account linking making sense is Domino's Pizza.
Yeah.
You've already got an app and a website and all this other stuff where you have an account there. They have all your payment information. They have your credit card. They have your delivery address, so that when you talk to the skill and you're like, hey, I want a cheese pizza and some breadsticks, they're like, cool, it'll be there in 30 minutes. And that's the entire experience because they're linking with an account that already exists that has all that information. So in their case, for Domino's, account linking makes total sense. But if you only have a skill and you're trying to sell things through the skill, that's Amazon Pay.
Why wouldn't you just use Amazon Pay?
There's a disconnect somewhere. There's a disconnect.
So we'll need to reach out to the testers.
Anyway, I have kind of escalated this up the chain. What was the guy's name that we talked to, Ryan, this morning?
Johannes.
So Johannes is on point for that. Mm-hmm. And it sounds, Don, like we'll be moving on that pretty quickly here. So
okay.
So we can move off of that topic. I just wanted to throw that one out there. Stranavas on YouTube also asked, is there any support coming to local languages, say like Kannada, similar to Google Assistant? So one of the challenges that we have, one, is that we can't really talk about roadmaps. So I know I say that on every office hours, but we can't talk about what's coming. And I just like to remind everybody about that. But for Stranavas's specific question, I think that there is a difference in how we roll out languages versus how Google Assistant has rolled out languages. In many cases, my understanding, and please correct me if I'm wrong, but my understanding is they rolled out to dozens and dozens of languages early on by just using simple translation, using things like Google Translate to be able to provide that kind of interactivity in those languages. The challenge with that is that for any native speaker, it will often sound foreign and weird because it's translating from some other language. And so we have taken a more cautious approach on this. We do continue to roll out new languages on a regular cadence. And the most recent one I think we added was Arabic. I think the Arabic is the most recent language that we've added. But we do have a decent set of languages, but when you start to get into nuances, or like, let's say we wanted to support every dialect in the country of India. I mean, that's dozens and dozens of different dialects of languages. That is a harder problem because what we're actually doing is building the individual languages on their own, and building that stack takes a lot. We have to think about phonemes and the entire language library and the speech to text engines that run on top of those. There's a lot there, and so I think our teams are moving as fast as they can. And I have been assured that we intend to be available in every language everywhere, but that it takes time. And so they're building this stuff from the ground up in many cases, but are not using translation to do it. So that's I think that's the major difference. I don't want to take anything away from Google Assistant. I think it's awesome that they've been able to roll it out to so many different places in so many different languages. I just think we're taking a different approach. Tom O'Donnell on Facebook says, I have a basic Alexa skill for our radio station. Can we create a multi-action and stream for screens and show our visual radio feed with the same skill? So generally, yes. But what I don't know is what your initial skill looks like. For radio station skills, oftentimes you'll see a simple audio player skill that just picks up an audio feed, some audio stream that you have someplace, and you don't build anything else, right? Pause and things like that are built right in. Lots of radio stations just use the audio skill interaction model that we provide out of the box to run their radio station. That being said, if you build a custom skill, so your custom skill is feeding in that audio file, it's playing it through the audio player, you should be able to detect whether or not a user has a screen. And in that case, absolutely. You can play the audio or you can play the video. And I have actually built examples of this. I have a skill called the Unofficial Star Wars Databank. And in addition to being able to ask about characters and planets and vehicles and weapons and all sorts of stuff, it also has all 9 of the Star Wars, well, even more than 9, because I have like the Han Solo movie in there, and I have Rogue One. But you can you can watch the trailers from all of those movies. But if the video capabilities aren't there, then I play the audio from those trailers. And if the device has like the Echo Dot with clock has the APL on the screen, I will actually write out. I do this for the opening crawls. And so on the opening crawls, I will actually display it on the little clock face of even an Echo Dot. It was just a way for me to experiment with that capability. But yes, with a custom skill, 100% you can do that. And you should still be able to function just as a radio station. But I think if you're using just the audio player interactivity, that would not be an easy addition. You'd have to build a new skill, basically. Anybody else have any thoughts on that?
That sounds fine to me.
It's totally doable. Yeah, I think, but if you're using the prepackaged one for audio only, it handles pause and play and fast forward and all those controls. You'd have to recreate all that yourself. Totally doable. And I'm actually working on something similar to that, where I'm not going to be doing streaming video, but I am building a skill that will have a video and audio interface to it, to actually search through these old office hour videos. So I'm streaming that 3 days a week. I haven't gotten to the Alexa skill part, but it's going to be all APL. It'll detect if you have a screen or not, give you a video interface where you can fast forward, pause, and then if you don't have a screen, it'll just give you the audio controls. So it is possible. It's not as straightforward as just the audio only skill. Let me say it that way.
For sure.
But we do have some great APL like starting point like templates out there, and APL Ninja, that website, has a bunch of really great templates to get started with APL and the video controls, and that's where I'm going to borrow a lot of my code from.
For sure. So. Yeah, they have lots and lots of cool things. In fact, they built me a roulette wheel.
Oh yeah.
My intention is to apply that to my casino when I finally get around to building that again. All right, Brian Tarbox has 2 bits here. The first one is the AWS community builders and community heroes get early access and info for roadmap things. Is there any chance we could get something like that for Alexa? So to address that first question, we do have a program called the Alexa Champions, and the Alexa Champions do have their own private conversations with our product team. In fact, we just had it recently about what the roadmap looks like. They're not only providing roadmap stuff, but they're providing opportunities for feedback to help shape that roadmap. So, hey, this is the direction we're thinking of heading. This is the new feature we're going to offer. What do you think? What do you love? What do you hate? What is missing? All that kind of stuff. So that program does exist, and I think we currently have about 75 Alexa Champions around the world. That program is in a weird state right now, where the person that was running it has left the team. If you guys knew Laura, she was on our team. She was running that. She has moved on to a new awesome opportunity, and as a result, we're trying to figure out exactly how and where we're going to continue to grow that program here in the future. There's no doubt it will. It's just a matter of figuring out how that's all going to work. So the second question Brian had was that he has built a skill using ISPs. He's ready to submit a skill, but his royalty interview, if you guys haven't seen this in the developer console, you have to fill out what is a brief form, but they call it an interview, tax interview, for both the United States and Canada. And he said his interview has been stuck in review for over a month. I just saw this morning, I think on Slack as well, and I haven't had a chance to reply to you yet, Brian. But that's not normal. I wouldn't expect that to happen. When I filled out my interviews, because I have a developer account and did the same thing, mine was done in a day. I think it was less than a day. So unless you have some kind of shady background or failed a background check or some other weird thing, which I doubt, that doesn't feel normal to me. So my go-to question is always, have you filled out a contact us request? If you have, as Scott mentioned, they are heavily backlogged. Do you have an estimate? And I'm not holding you to this, but I'm just curious. Someone asked earlier what the normal turnaround time is for contact us replies.
Sure. So
it is today.
A couple days usually is. I mean, if we're not dealing with a list as long as my leg, then it would be the same day. Usually within a couple of hours. But currently, so to speak to that actual point, when he's talking about his review, earlier this month we had an error that occurred somewhere that sent a whole bunch of people emails saying, "Hey, do your Canada tax review."
Yeah, I got that.
Or you're going to go to the moon or prison or something. So they, a lot of people wrote in saying, "What WTF is this?" And so I would almost guess that it's because they think yours was fake. That's just a guess. But so they think that because a lot of people filled these out and sent them in for just no reason, and a lot of people got them for no reason, that they might not know it's there. So I will take a look at this today and see if we're making sure that we're catching all of these that are going in and coming out. But that would probably be my biggest, that would be a wild guess as to the reason why it's been sitting there for a month, because it was about a month ago that this error happened. So we've been seeing these cases coming in all month. I mean, yeah, we can, I'll look into it today to make sure that it's going through, and I'll get your information from Jeff.
Awesome. And in the meantime, if you haven't actually filled out a contact us request, because what that will give Scott, Brian, is access to things like I think it's your vendor ID, your developer ID, because you're logged in when you fill out the contact us request. It gives him a bunch of that other information. So please don't share that here in chat. But I would recommend that you can send that over to me and just say, "Hey, here's my contact us ticket number." But he can go look for. Can you go look for his name in the queue of messages that come in?
I can.
Okay.
I can do it. It's fine.
Okay. Awesome. I just want to make sure it's easy for you to find his request specifically. Okay. Awesome. Thank you. And hopefully that helps, Brian. We'll get this one solved. So Milton says, is there a way for a developer to create a project that would help introduce a new language to Alexa? No.
No, it's the way that they do languages for Alexa is we record every word. Like there's a person in the studio standing there saying literally every word within your language. Jeff was talking about this earlier how Google Translate in other languages, and that's great, except for German and probably many other languages.
Sure.
That is a little disjointed and stuff. I love Google Assistant. I have one, but it's, like I can't imagine. Google Translate's notorious with Germans. So, but for us, it has to be a full-on recording package. Like they've got to record. That's why it's a different voice for every country, because they get somebody from that country to do it. So in order for you to create a new language, you'd have to literally create the entire language, and that is what we do.
Right.
So this is not an uncommon question. We actually get this question a lot. How do I posed this question yesterday in my chat, like somebody was asking, and I can't remember the name of the language, but I just substituted ancient Sumerian. And a lot of people suddenly started paying attention because they didn't think that it was still spoken. And I was like, it's not. But yeah, no, it can't really be done the way that you're describing it. It has to be a full language.
Agreed. And one of the core reasons for that is because when you think about talking to the device, if you're trying to talk in another language, the device is going to be tuned to the language that you selected. And each language has its own set of phonemes and sounds and all sorts of other things that go together. And so you're not even going to get it to recognize the words that you want it to hear because it's expecting to hear words in a specific language.
Yeah, I was going to add, like, the recording is just the first step and then a long, cumbersome process. Then it's using machine learning to break down the phonemes and build models and all these other pieces on top of that, and retraining and retraining and retraining and retraining. I bet at some point in the future we're going to have this be much more automated and scalable and so on. But right now, I think our stance is let's focus on the highest quality possible. And that's the process that our teams use right now.
Yes. Also, for those that didn't see, Stefania Sharp is in the audience, in the chat.
I saw that.
So that's always exciting. Welcome, Steph.
She can always just join too.
I know we could
just
bump
get
her
on
on here. The Primordial Dude on YouTube says, what type of NLP model is used by Alexa to understand user commands like play music? I don't actually know the answer to this. This is more of like a sciencey question. What is the science behind how we do our speech to text? I think is the kind of the question that's being hinted at here. And for us as developers, that's more of a black box than we really have access to. I don't actually know a correct answer to this. Do you know, Scott?
That's like way over my pay grade. My goodness, the actual natural language unit science is so very.
When I started on the team, I watched a series of videos that explained this, and I didn't understand any of it. So and I'm sure it has like all kinds of internal information that I cannot share, but I can't share it anyway because I really didn't understand it.
Yeah.
It's complex. I'll say it that way.
All right.
I wish I had
That's not an answer. I feel bad about that answer, but
I think I watched those same videos and
yeah,
it's beyond me. It is beyond me.
They're doing a bunch of stuff at the same time using probabilistic determination to kind of bring it all back together and figure out, like, it's crazy complex and all done in like milliseconds. It blows my mind.
That's the thing that kills me the most is that not only do these things do the task well, they do the task well super fast. Normally in most software, you get done really well or you get really fast. And the fact that they are consistently finding ways to do both is mind-blowing to me.
It's because we don't care about the price aspect of that golden triangle. So that's
right. Right. That could be.
I have no idea. I'm just kidding.
Okay. Leveland Brown. I don't know if that's your real name or not. It's awesome. As someone that grew up in Cleveland, I love your name. He would love to get in touch with Amazon about an idea that he could have to pair up with Alexa. This can go a couple of ways. You can try to fill out our contact us request and say, hey, I'd really like to talk with somebody in business development about how I have this cool idea. Before you're going to do any of that, quite honestly, I would make sure that you have talked with a lawyer, make sure you have a patent on your idea or whatever it is, because if you just send ideas to us, that you end up in a weird legal limbo. So please be cautious of that idea. But if you just have some hardware or something that you're like, hey, this would work really well with Alexa, that's what we're here to talk about. Whether it's hardware or software or whatever, we're here to answer questions about it. Well, hey, I have this cool device. How do I control it with Alexa? Or how do I do these things? Those are the kinds of things that we'd be happy to have conversations with you about. But in general, if you have a proprietary idea or like a feature idea or something new that you want Alexa to add, but you somehow want to partner with us on it, I would make sure you've checked your legal boxes before you just start firing ideas in here, because that's a weird gray area. Anybody else want to touch that one? Or
this one comes in a lot, actually. We have a cool thing and we want to, pair it with Alexa or work directly with Amazon. What I end up sending out most of the time is an email that helps to try to draw the attention away from having to partner with us. Amazon actually allows our developers to do a whole lot of stuff. Like I get it. Like you can't just say I work with Amazon now, but there are, certifications to go through to get works with Amazon. There's that it doesn't require you to become a partner with Amazon. You can just be yourself. You can just keep doing these things yourself, be your own personal third-party laboratory, and make your cool stuff. For the most part, you'd be surprised how little we actually need to be involved. But DAG is always here to help kind of talk you through stuff and try to gather information. If you can't find any information for what you need to move forward, then we'll definitely try to help you, to dig around internally and try to find what you need and what you're looking for. But this happens a lot. A lot of people they get a really great idea and they gallem it, and they I have to share this with Amazon, and it's okay. But do it yourself. You're totally free to do it. It's going to be it's probably one of the more freeing things about working with Amazon is the fact that we don't require you to be legally onboarded to blah 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 blah. 99% of the stuff that we do, we empower our developers to go out and do it. That being said, of course, if you have a direct implementation, I'm sorry, this is only one cup of coffee, guys.
We'll get there.
If you have an idea for a new button on Alexa, that might not make it because that's the engineering core,
based on his question, I think he probably has a thing.
Yeah.
How would I get in touch with Amazon about an idea I have that could pair up with Alexa? His idea is probably to combine some service or some device that already exists today.
Mm-hmm.
I think
we already do that. It works with Alexa, WWA program, what else? There's also the third-party authorized lab applications. If you want to be a third-party authorized lab, you could do that. But the WWA certification is probably where the first place I would set you.
Cool. All right. I have another tough question that really is for Scott.
Well, I'm just on the hot seat.
If you think about AWS, there is a status page for every service in AWS. The question from Milton on Twitch is there a website for scheduled maintenance for Alexa services? I run into scheduled maintenance several times recently.
Okay.
I'd love to know how I can know that something is up or down.
So first of all, actually, no, you didn't. That was a major error that we discovered. We had maybe 15 cases come in all of a sudden saying, "Hey, what's this scheduled maintenance crap?" That's because there was an error on the developer console that has been localized and removed. So that
I encountered the exact same thing a few times.
Yeah. That being said, that's a great idea. Having a scheduled maintenance, either even we could just put it on the blog, just having a maintenance schedule to post to our developers to let them know, so that if they are scheduling a maintenance cycle, then we could actually, it would help to avoid getting those errors. Ooh, I'm writing that down.
Yeah.
Where's
That feels like a good one.
Yeah, that's a good one. I'm gonna keep that one.
Mr. Survival Expert, I feel like I saw a variation of this question in Slack as well. I have a small cooking skill and I want to add some videos to the cooking steps. Is there a way to ask questions or say something once the video is done playing? How can I tell the user what to do after the video? Well, I can tell you that I'm definitely doing this in that Star Wars skill. After I show you the video trailer or after I show you the opening scroll from each of the movies, once the video stops playing, there is an on-ended event or something like that I subscribe to, and then I send a new I think I send a new dialogue that is just the speech itself. I'd have to go back and look because I built that skill like a year ago, but I'm pretty sure that that's how it works. Is I just kind of loaded in a few things and I say some stuff, and then I play the video, and then I say some stuff after the video.
Yeah, I just posted a link to the APL documentation for the video player, and there is an on-end property that contains an array of commands. So you just pass in your commands that you want to send back to your Lambda as a directive, and it will pull
That
back.
sounds great. That sounds
Yeah.
fun. Cool. All right. So W. Giorgio says, I filled out a contact us form last week, and we talked about it in last week's office hour. Still haven't heard anything about my weird problem with selling my cards on Cards of Wonder for in-game credits, not ISP. I did find it stated the error in the Alexa dev console saying it could supply a response, which happens every time this month. It didn't happen when I launched this or on my dev skill. So what he's getting is there is an error that is occurring inside his skill when a user tries to purchase something, but this is not a real money ISP transaction. This is basically him building his own interaction model that has an intent that is a buy things with virtual money thing. And I can't remember what the error was, but he said he was getting an error only in production, not in development, not in the dev console.
Only when on the live skill.
That's what I'm reading here. Yes.
Okay, so that's weird. For one, it makes me think that because it is like it shouldn't matter if he's using real dollars or if he's using Pokemon coins.
Mm-hmm.
Like the ISP works the way the ISP works. So you provided a currency and it just creates it. And it just uses it. That's it. But it should. That sounds like a problem with the back end.
Right. I mean, to me, it feels like ultimately we're going to land on a bug in code.
Yeah, I feel if there's a transfer error going on there, then if it's my guess would be something along with the actual currency itself. It's looking for something and it's not finding it.
Yeah, but it is weird that it only happens in production. But I think we.
When was the last time you updated the skill, dude?
But he said he filled out a contact us last week, so this looks like something that we hopefully should be getting back to him on. He just hasn't heard back yet.
Yeah,
fingers crossed. There, I saw.
We're hiring, by the way. I don't know if anybody knows this.
So I think Mr. Survival Expert just asked for a code sample.
I sent him one.
I know. Okay, cool. So I also know that if you go to my personal GitHub, my username there is Jeff Blankenberg. I have a repository called Unofficial Star Wars Databank. You should be able to find it in there as well. That whole skills code is there. Nice. Back to Leveland Brown on LinkedIn. He said he does have a patent and also has a prototype. Can we send him the information? Nice. Absolutely, we can send you the information. So what you're looking for, as Scott mentioned, is to go through the contact us process. And where did my link? There we go. So you just need to go to alexa.design/contact us, and that will get you right where you're looking for, Mr. Brown. Okay.
Wow, he does it. That's cool. Nobody ever has a patent. That's great.
No, that's awesome.
That's amazing. Like I always have people that are just like, I have this invention or I have this thing, and they don't have anything more than that. It's so cool. Wow.
Sanjay on Facebook says, "Hello, can I change the Alexa name and customize it to something else?"
Echo, computer, Amazon,
Ziggy.
Yeah. Yes, you can change it to any of those. You can do it in the app, the Alexa app that you set the device up with. I believe that is the only place you can do it. You cannot do it by speaking to it.
No.
You can only do it by changing it in the app.
A warning though, if you change your awake word to computer, don't watch Star Trek.
Good tip.
Most annoying.
That's a really good
And if
tip.
you change it to Ziggy, don't watch Quantum Leap.
Well, there you go.
So I heard a rumor, an internet rumor, that they might be bringing Quantum Leap back.
Oh, that'd be awesome.
I mean, why wouldn't they? I just saw.
I
Disney
love that
Plus they have
show.
a reboot of Turner and Hooch.
Oh my goodness!
Why would you reboot that? Just because it has a dog?
That's Tom Hanks,
Is
right?
that all? We can do another cop dog
original.
movie. It's fine.
Yeah.
Can I ask Scott a question about dogs really quick since we're on topic?
Let's do it.
Scott, so last time we talked, and this has been a while, you were going to train your dog to use those buttons
Yeah.
to talk back to you. I was just curious if you had an update on this.
Oh, not only did he pick up, we bought a pack of 4 and only used 1. We are now on our second pack of 4, and so he picked up treat overnight. And
that makes sense. I believe that one.
He immediately picked up. Oh, this is a button, and I get treat. Awesome.
Right.
Keep hitting this button. This is great. So then we started using water, and then we started using hungry, and then kitchen, which I feel like was a mistake. We should have just said open because it's more about anyway. Outside and love me. Yeah, which. So he picked up on the buttons so fast. I didn't think that that dogs could do this. It makes me worried because I'm worried that like can speak perfect English in his head, but he can't use his mouth. So he's just like locked into his little dog body, and we're talking to him, and he's trying to talk to us. He's very frustrated. His level of frustration has gone down tremendously. His attitude has completely changed. He stops hovering over and nipping, to try to get attention.
Yeah.
And so now he just asks for what he wants, and he like playtime. There's another one, playtime. He will go to the back door and hit the button and open it up, and I'll go open. The treat one's a big deal because he keeps asking for treats, and we have little arguments. We basically have conversations with our dog now.
Yeah, that's awesome.
The weirdest but coolest thing ever. He's very smart, and he knows exactly how to manipulate the system. So. Like if I'm walking around and then I go upstairs and then Diane's down here, he'll hit the treat button again just because he thinks that we can't hear. But he's like a toddler. He's like a little kid. The buttons worked great, and he is actually using them all the time now.
What are they called? I'm ordering some.
Just Google the dog talking buttons. There are a couple different brands out there.
Okay.
And we just got the little 4-pack. I think the 4-pack was like $25 on Amazon.
Nice.
That worked out very well.
Imagine turning those into Alexa buttons, and then
so
the door for itself. And
see, this is what it occurred to me. We're sitting here. We have 240-pound dogs, and getting up to open the back door. It's okay to leave the door open in the summertime, and it's fine, because it's the summertime. But in the winter, it's freezing, so. They need to go in and out and in and out. So I just decided I'm going to make one of those buttons, but have it open the door. I've been trying to figure out how to make a dog door that is that size. Do you have any idea how hard it is to find a dog door for a dog that weighs 150 pounds?
Sure.
It's impossible. And it costs like $12,000 million. So I'm just going to get an automatic door opener, then connect it to that button and run it through Alexa.
There you go. All right, I got to get back to questions. They're queuing up here.
Sorry.
I feel like I work at DAG and it's huge backlog.
I can't escape it.
Milton wants to know, what's the big list of screen devices under the interfaces APL in the DevTools mean? I mean, a skill will work for a given device even if you don't check it off, right? It's grown a lot with mobile on the list now. So if you think about when you build a skill, you go to interfaces, you choose APL, and then there's a list of device shapes. It's not all the devices. It's basically just the different screen sizes. And there are checkboxes for which ones you want to support. My suspicion, I don't know this for sure, but my suspicion is if you don't check a box, then you won't receive the APL indications in your manifest when the user comes to your skill from that device. It will behave as if it is an audio-only device. It does not support APL because you are not supporting APL on that device. Ryan, do you have any thoughts on that one? Because I'm literally pulling that one from my hip.
I've never tested this, but that's kind of my assumption as well. If you don't check the box, then you won't know that it supports APL. The only other thing that I can think of is that it's there to remind you that there are a bunch of different devices and shapes and screen sizes and so on. Because when you do craft APL, like a visual response, you have to test it, because if it looks good on a rectangular device, it doesn't always look great on a round device. Like, it tries to do that, but if you're going to create really great visuals, then you have to use the different APL. Oh crap, what are those called? Where you can like say, like, this is the section for horizontal screens, this is the section for vertical screens, because now that we have the big Echo Show 15s, we can do vertical or round displays, and so you can feed it basically different APL screens for the different sizes and shapes and stuff. And so if this doesn't explicitly toggle those on and off, which I'm 80% sure that it does, like do what Jeff does, but if it doesn't, it serves as a reminder, like, hey, you do have to, like, you can't design for the Fire TV and expect it to work on like the little round displays. So
right. Yeah, and I mean, I think it's a which side do I want to do it on, right? Because I could also write logic in my code that says, oh, if I recognize this screen portal size, then I'm not providing any APL also. So this feels like a very heavy-handed way. And now I got to know why those boxes are there. I don't think they would put them there just as a checklist. There has to be functionality baked in behind them. And so for me, it feels like I don't want to support the Echo Spot, right? So I'm not supporting that, which means that when I encounter that device, it will not tell me that it supports APL, and I can just my skill will then automatically behave as if it's just an audio-only device. That's my suspicion.
It should.
Now I need to really know.
Yeah.
Yeah.
What makes me really like
80%. I'm with you, Jeff. 80% of me is with you. The other 20% knows that designers will design UIs to be tricky to get you to think and do other things. So, but now I want to test it. I'm with you. I want to go and test this today.
Right, now we're gonna have to go through with that for sure. All right, Generation Startup on YouTube says, first, hi, great office hour again. We're a small startup in Germany that wants to digitalize the processes of companies with Alexa. Is there a plan to trigger skills from a website by a button? I feel like this already exists.
Well, trigger, do you mean like to begin the skills operations to move forward through something, or is it to enable it?
I think
you can enable it from our website.
Yeah, so I guess that's the really good trick. If you want Alexa to speak from your website, that's a harder process. It's possible, but we don't really make that super easy. If you are asking, if somebody clicks on a button on my website, can I have their device start talking to them with the specific skill I have in mind? And the answer to that is yes. You can find quick links. These are simple URLs that you can create that allow someone to click on a thing, and it will, I don't remember, I think it gives them a drop-down list of devices that they want to trigger it on. And then I feel like I'm going to get this wrong. But basically, when you click on the quick link, if you only had one device, it'll just open that device right exactly to that experience and kick it off. And I just don't remember what the UI looks like. I haven't played with quick links in a minute. But when you click on a quick link, I feel like it takes you to a page that gives you a drop-down or a list of your devices for your account, and you pick one, and then it plays only on that device, because you wouldn't want like every one of your devices to start going off. So I think that's the one like intermediate step there, but quick links is what you're looking for, I think. And if you want your web page to speak with Alexa's voice, that is not an easy task.
Murphy just asked to go outside, so I'm going to let him go outside.
Okay. JPTC says, nice
awesome.
Funko Pops. Thank you. Mahler Sachs on Twitch says, important question. Where can I buy my Amazon Astro?
That is a very important question.
Oh, right.
I know.
I would really like to have one. Stefania has an answer here. I'm just going to read what she wrote. It's to indicate which viewport profiles you have created APL details for, not devices. That's the profiles, right? It's the screen shapes. So if you don't indicate you support the Echo Show 15, for example, Alexa will decide how to render an existing document. This is like when someone builds a website but hasn't optimized for mobile, rendering still tries to make it work.
Oh,
Got
she's
it.
so smart.
She gets to write code every single day, Ryan.
This is
Lucky.
true.
Lucky. Okay, so thank you, Steph, for your answer there. Leveland wants to know if I have anything to do with the Ring doorbell. I don't. There are a bunch of very, very smart people working over on Ring, but I am not one of them, both because of the smartness and because of the division I work in. Will there be... I think you're muted, Scott. I don't know if that was on purpose.
I am muted. I was.
Okay. All Might Gaming on YouTube wants to know if Zigbee APIs are available for the Echo 4th Gen. I believe that if you find something that's just called an Amazon Echo, so not a Dot, not a Show, not anything else, I believe all of the Echoes since Gen 3 have had Zigbee and Z-Wave radios built in. But what you're asking for is APIs. How can I build a thing that communicates with the APIs on the device? I don't believe that that's a thing. I don't think so. We're venturing into smart home where my knowledge is lesser. It's some, but it's lesser. But I don't believe that there is a way today where you could build software or hardware that would communicate directly with the Zigbee APIs on the device, any more so than just building a Zigbee device.
Are we wandering into ABS territory? Is this?
Oh, very much.
Okay, so that. Oh my! I might come back to this answer. Something is striking an alarm in here. There's something we just learned about with the Zigbee API set, and it's.
I'm gonna let it rattle around in your brain for a second.
Yeah, you're welcome.
Oxygen Box wants to know, when are we going to just chuck support for round screens? Isn't the spot end of life? And what % of Echoes are they? Well, there's at least 2 questions there that I don't have answers to. One is it end of life? I don't believe that we've EOL'd it.
No.
The second is, what % of Echoes are they? I certainly don't know that, nor would I be allowed to share that. So
10.
The question is, when do we drop support for round screens? I mean, you can technically do that today, but
yeah, the round screen was a really great idea. It was a neat, really cool little design choice. Yes. Also happened to be one of the most hair-pulling, most difficult thing to try to work around, because you know what? Every screen isn't round.
Right.
So I can only imagine these new flip phones that are coming out that are foldable screens. I can't even imagine the headaches that they are dealing with the display properties of that stupid thing. Like, yeah. I can't even, it boggles my mind. And the round screens they're not end of life because we love them. They're wonderful, but they wouldn't tell me anyway, but it's the support's still there. It's just a contact us form. We have a tech team. And again, sorry, we're thin right now. Please apply.
Well, Steph, again, with all the answers, she should really just be on camera with us. She said devices continue to receive updates 4 years after they are last sold, so it will be supported until about 2025.
Wow.
I think it is end of life. I'm trying to see if
that was like the direct answer. You knew the direct answer. I was just like.
I don't know if you can buy an Echo Spot anymore.
I don't think so.
Regardless, it's going to be around for quite a while, but you don't have to support it. Like, you could just not return an APL doc if the profile is round.
Yeah, that's something else that you can kind of keep in mind as a developer, is that when a product is thinning out on the market, you don't have to keep supporting it. And it sucks. It's not something that I don't like telling people to not help their customers. It's not it's out of my brain. But
Right.
at the same time, it's like it's the same. It's also a lot of headache in case So yeah, you just mix it.
But there's another. So what I'm looking up right now. So the APL Ninja site, they did a blog post on how to get the analytics of your own skill of all the different devices. They did a great blog post where you log everything in CloudWatch and you set up in CloudWatch Insights where you're able to view what devices are interacting with your skill. So we can't answer how many devices, like how many echo spots there are in the wild, but you can start collecting metrics your own. It's not built into the internal dashboards, which is kind of a shame, but
Annoying,
you
yeah.
can figure out how many echo spots there are or how many round displays there are, and then determine if you want to continue supporting that. If it's 2%, then maybe you just want to cut support for it and say it's not worth your development time. If it's 90%, then make a different decision. I'm going to try and pull up that blog post.
Awesome. So here's the good news. Stefania is way ahead of us in the chat. And so she's already answered all the questions. So thanks, everybody. We'll see you later.
Yeah. Wow. This was fun, you guys.
Also, I was wrong. She writes 0 code. She is now a manager.
I'm sorry, Steph.
She's just been here forever. I definitely don't want to be a manager, so my envy level has gone way down for her.
Yeah, it's funny because a lot of the people that are left my team have gone on to management. I'm just like, wow, yeah, no.
Right. I don't even know how to look out for myself. I don't need to look out for others.
I'm sure she's awesome.
Okay. Getting to the next question, because there's a lot of good discussion in here, but the next question is from Milton. What version of APL should we use in coding? Should we be coding for lower versions if we don't need the more recent features? Generally, my understanding is that you should always optimize around whatever the latest version is. And there's a number of reasons for this. And I don't want to say 100%, but nearly all changes that are made to APL are backwards compatible. So the only thing that you lose out on by going down is the ability to add new features in the future. The way Alexa devices work, I don't believe, without unplugging it or disconnecting it from Wi-Fi, I suppose, I don't believe there's a way to keep devices from not updating themselves. Scott, do you know that?
No, that's auto update.
Auto update.
Yeah, you don't even have to approve it. It just
Yep.
Yeah.
So devices should be updated. So trying to accommodate earlier versions of APL, I don't think is necessarily in your best interest.
You're kind of putting yourself behind the 8 ball on that one.
Yeah.
Like
you're just limiting your ability to grow in the future.
Yeah.
And the current version is 1.9. So that is what I would recommend you use. And look, Steph already answered this question. Always use the latest. They release functional updates as well to improve all features. So she's just killing it today.
Making us look really bad.
Right. But at least we're giving the same answers before reading hers.
That's true.
Right.
That's true.
Yeah. That's always scary.
Is 1280 by 720 still the maximum resolution for video? Got that from an old video app interface reference. By the way, are there even devices that use the video app interface but not APL? Okay. Second question first. Yes, there are devices. I think all devices will support the video app interface. But I don't, because of the update model that we just described, I don't think that there would be a device that supports the video app interface but not APL. My first inclination would be to think about the original Echo Show, which I don't. It's just off camera here. Here, if I go widescreens, this guy, that's the original Echo Show. But even that supports APL and all the things. So no, I don't believe that there is a device that would do that. So that answers that. As far as the 1280 by 720, I would have to look that up. That would be in the tech docs. I don't, off the top of my head, I don't know. That is not a thing I would memorize.
I'm trying to find it, but it's not.
It sounds right, but I don't know for sure.
I do know that the videos have very strict requirements over all the formatting. So it is detailed somewhere. I'm just not finding it in the documentation on the first glance.
All right. Draconary on Twitch says, hey guys, is there any data resources about a recent user voice utilization? I mean, info chart or something like that. I think what they want to know is are there any global data analytics about usage by device and by user, probably by locale? That's what I'm reading here. And no, I don't believe that we publish anything like that. Your best bet, and this isn't even really very deep, is that I gave a presentation at reInvent called The State of Alexa. I get to do this every year, and it's basically a 1-hour conversation about here's all the stuff you missed in this year. And so I start with a bunch of numbers, but I don't think they're the kinds of deep dive numbers that you're looking for. I talk about how many skills there are, how many devices are out there, how many users are using things, how frequently skills get used, but it's not in any kind of deep digestible chunks that I think you're looking for. I don't even have access to that kind of information. So no, I don't believe there is. That being said, I believe that some of the third-party media organizations that are focused on voice, like voicebot.ai, is it voicebot.ai? I think it is. They have their own analytics and things that they run, which have some inferences and assumptions built into them, but I think they're probably not that far off. You might take a look at VoiceBot and see, is it VoiceBot? Is that what I'm thinking of?
Yeah. Trying to find it.
So he has an entire research thing on there that walks you through all sorts of smart speaker reports and all sorts of other things. So VoiceBot might be a good place to check out if you're looking for some of those answers. But no, we do not publish that.
Getting close to the user data line. You know what I mean? Like, so there's a definite line they draw in the sand when it comes to finding out who's using what.
All right, we have 4 minutes left and a couple of other things in here. So Atul Raj wants to know, how can I have the capability to control voice like volume up and volume down in my skill? Well, there's some good and some bad news to this. If you, one, you can't. That's the bad news. So you can't directly affect the volume of the device. However, I believe if someone's using your skill and they say volume up, the first-party Alexa experience should kick the volume up for you. That being said, I want to test that because I feel like I could be wrong.
It might interrupt the skill. It might, but it shouldn't.
Open unofficial Star Wars databank.
Welcome to the Star Wars databank. I can answer your questions about people and places in the Star Wars universe.
It even sounds like a Jedi.
Or droids. What would you like to know about?
Volume 5.
I didn't find a match for Volume 5,
Yeah.
but you can ask about a character, or a species,
Alexa,
or a vehicle.
Stop.
Goodbye.
So if you would have said Alexa volume up, could that have worked?
If I had said Alexa the name,
Yeah.
possibly, but a user wouldn't know to do that. And so that's why I was testing it that way. But I do wonder, my skill is kind of weird. I think I use the search query slot, which catches all the things. If you're not using that, like a monster, then I think the fallback intent would allow some of those things to happen. So maybe I should run through that a little differently. But the bad news, Atul Raj, on YouTube is that there's not a way for you in your skill to affect the volume or the functionality of the device itself. They're just living in your experience.
It feels like if the skill is running, and if your skill is in the midst of saying something to you, doesn't matter what it is, welcome to the blah, and you interrupt it while it's talking and say Alexa volume up, it will bump the volume up.
Okay.
Where if it's not talking, if it's waiting for your response to a question that it needs to use to answer to move forward, then it would probably have the same response you had before. But again, a user wouldn't know how to do that. It's too complex.
Got it. All right, and I think this is going to be our last question, and the answer is going to be, please fill out a Contact Us request. So I'm going to put that on the screen for any of you that may be wondering, how do I fill out a Contact Us request? Revital Schwartz on LinkedIn says, I'm having 2 specific issues. He's located in Israel. One, on the Echo Show 8, it says that there's no internet connection. I don't know how to change it. It worked great until yesterday. So if you're on an Echo Show, you can always swipe down from the top right corner of the screen, and it'll bring up a menu. I don't know if I can show that here on screen very easily. But you can swipe down. Get my chair out of the way. Here, let's do this. Can I just do me for a moment? Yeah. So if you swipe down from the top of the screen, you can see that I get this menu of options, one of which is settings. And inside the settings, you should then be able to choose your Wi-Fi and configure and test and do all that stuff. So that's my step one. That's what I would recommend if you're not able to figure out how to connect your internet connection. If your internet connection just isn't working, that's where I'd lean into either the customer service side of Amazon, like, hey, my device isn't working, or if you think you've got some specific issue that's related to the development side of things, then a contact us request makes sense. The other one, this one feels more like contact us, but probably still maybe customer service, is the last 2 or 3 weeks, the skills and games in the Alexa app changed the language to Arabic. I checked with a different phone. It seems like the problem is only on Android. It doesn't happen on Apple cell phones. I love the Apple emoji. So with this, the apps that you see should be related to the language that you have selected on your Amazon account, which is inside the app. You can choose which language you want to have associated with your account. I would check that to see and verify that you are not, in fact, running into the wrong
preferred marketplace.
Yeah, I don't have a better answer for you on that one, though. But both of those, at least the first one, certainly feels like a customer service issue. If your device just isn't working on Wi-Fi anymore, I mean, obviously try the standard stuff, right? Reboot the device, unplug it, count to 20, plug it back in, see if that solves it. That can solve many, many things in the tech world. But if that doesn't solve it, then I would probably reach out to customer service. And in many cases, they might even just replace your device. So something to consider. Okay. I think that's going to be it for today. Actually, it sounds like maybe this is a technical issue. I'm going to just stay on for one more second here. He's saying that the skills and games of the Alexa app, the app itself is in Arabic and the location is Israel. The formal language here is Hebrew. I know it's not possible for the apps to be in Hebrew, but 2 to 3 weeks ago it was in English, and there was no issue with that. And then it suddenly changed on its own to Arabic. I wonder if we made a change to decide, like, oh, now that we support Arabic, obviously everyone in Israel is going to want that. That could actually be a bigger problem.
That would be a customer service. Contact us. That's nothing we can do about it.
Yeah. Boy, I wonder, Ryan, who on our side we could even try to reach out to about this and ask some hard questions. I'm going to send.
I was just thinking.
Go ahead.
I was just thinking we should go over there and validate this use case, like in person. Make sure.
Yeah. Let's fly over, see how it works.
Yeah.
Sounds good.
I'd love to visit.
Sounds good. All right. Well, let's sign off here, and then we can track this stuff down. Thank you guys all for tuning in. Really appreciate your time and your concern and your questions. Please continue to share them with us. If you have not already joined our Slack community, I can't emphasize that enough. You can have this kind of experience with thousands of other developers. We hit 2,000 people in the Alexa Slack last Friday. So it's continuing to grow. It's a really supportive, great group of people that are there to help and understand how all this stuff's all working. So I want to thank Ryan and Scott for being here, and certainly Steph for answering most of the questions for us.
For showing us.
So, Revital, I'll dig into this, and we'll see if we have more to share next week, or in Slack if you want to find me there. But thank you guys all for tuning in. We'll see you very soon.
Bye, everybody.